You know that moment when you sit down to write a post, an email, really anything, and instant amnesia. Your brain goes blank, so you start scrolling for inspiration. You see what someone else in your industry is doing. Maybe you even start drafting a few different hooks from what you saw them creating, trying to be witty and clever, but there you are, 20 minutes later, stone cold coffee to your right, 5 captions and fragments, and the whole time you're thinking, ugh, why is this still so dang hard? Let me let you in on a little secret. Marketing doesn't have to be or feel hard. I know, wild take, but hear me out. Marketing itself is just sharing. And the reason it feels exhausting is because somewhere along the line, we started thinking of it as something separate from our brand. Something we have to figure out and make up as we go, instead of something that we just do. If marketing feels overwhelming, scattered, or exhausting, it's not because you're bad at it. If it feels like a chore despite the reps that you've put in over the years, it's not a marketing problem. It's more likely a brand problem. Because here's the shift. When your brand is clear, marketing isn't about figuring out what to say. It's showing up and saying the same thing that comes from your brand again and again in a way that resonates. So today, we're breaking down why marketing feels hard and how putting your brand back at the center will help you stop second guessing, reinventing wheels, and jerry-rigging hacks, and start marketing in a way that actually works without burning yourself out. And if you haven't met before, hi, I'm Rachel, a brand photographer and coach for creatives who's super passionate about helping you build a brand in your small business that's so clear it sells almost without saying a word. Let's get this straight right off the bat. Branding and marketing are not separate things. Your brand is your marketing. And if you take nothing else from this video, at least write this idea down. In the year of our Lord, 2025, the primary way that you can establish and foster your brand is through your marketing. Your marketing is your brand in practice. Marketing isn't just something that you do to get sales. Marketing is sharing the solutions and the stories of your business for those who need it. It's the primary way people get to experience your brand. The beautiful thing about where we're at with the platforms that we have at our fingertips, the facets with which you can market your brand are endless. Which one means that you can customize the approach to feel on brand and for your people, and 2, you have the opportunity to just show up and to serve people super well. Because at the end of the day, selling is a service. It provides them with a solution or a shortcut that gets them from where they are now to where they would like to be. And so if selling is a service and marketing is sharing, if your marketing isn't rooted in your brand, you'll always feel like you're chasing something else. This is why trends and advice and strategies that you see all over the internet tend to feel overwhelming because they aren't built for your brand or for your people. They're from someone else's experience and the way that they're reading the room. But the fact is that they're not reading the right rooms because they're not reading the rooms that your people are in. If we start with anything other than our brand, which is rooted in your visions, your strengths, and your values. We talked about that in a previous video, which is linked below if you're curious. Are you considering what rooms your people are in and the way that your brand should show up in that room? If you feel like your marketing is a guessing game, it's probably because your brand isn't clear yet, or you're taking a lot of advice from people that you really shouldn't be listening to in the first place. See, I look at it like this. Marketing is a vehicle. The brand gets to stay the same. Your business is a person, and your brand is the identity that it wears. It's founded in your vision, your values, your strengths, and your story as the founder, but then also married with the perception of how that brand is received. And so marketing just becomes the vehicle for the brand to make it into the right rooms, to be where your people are. Your brand's message, its stories, and its values all get to stay the same. Marketing is simply the way that those things travel, which gives you a lot of autonomy in this conversation. It also allows you to consider what that vehicle should look like to travel to the destination that it needs to make it to. If a singular marketing strategy stops working, i.e. the Instagram algorithm changes overnight, TikTok disappears and reappears in one day, you don't have to look at all things being lost. Your brand doesn't have to change. The thing that you've poured your life into building doesn't have to shift at all, but the way that you deliver it does. So if the reels aren't landing anymore, that doesn't mean your message is broken. It just means that you need a new way to share it. It means that you can get out of one vehicle and step into another. Marketing isn't about saying something new every day. It's about saying the same thing in new ways so that the right people get to hear it. Pinpointing the stories and the storylines within your brand that create a sense of familiarity for your people, and then repeating them in so many ways that they become familiar to them. And so if you're not quite aware of what the stories are in your brand that you can repeat in your content and in your marketing on a regular basis without them getting tired, and you don't have a way with which to figure that out, I have a tool for you, and it's called Storylines and Starters, and it's built all around this idea that your brand can become bingeable to the right people. We have the ability to create content that resonates, and that it's built from and in the stories that already registering themselves all throughout your brand. The problem isn't the fact that you don't have things to share, it's that you haven't pinpointed what those things are and how to share them on a regular basis. And so if you need a system for that, that's what Storylines and Starters is all about. And I even built a chatbot that literally can comb through all of your content and help you notice the patterns that already exist there, and then help you streamline those into what your storylines are, write your starters, and get started creating content as soon as tomorrow afternoon if you really wanted to dive in. And so if that's something that you'd be interested in, you can find that in the description below. Which then brings me to this idea that you get the chance to have strengths-based marketing, because you shouldn't be marketing like everyone else. If your brand is rooted in who you are, and you are different than everyone around you and all the people that do what you do, your marketing should reflect that. The marketing plan that works best for your business is the one that's built at the intersection of your strengths and your audience's preference. Because marketing should feel natural to you. It has the opportunity to feel fun, to feel creative, to feel like it's just coming from the essence of your being, or whatever you want it to feel like, actually. And if a strategy feels forced, it's probably because it doesn't align with either how you naturally communicate, what you enjoy creating, or where your best ideas come to life. When you play to your strengths, marketing stops feeling like a chore. And so are you marketing in a way that feels natural to you, or just in a way that you feel like you're supposed to? If that hit home, go ahead and click that like button so that I know that you're jiving with this. If your marketing is starting to feel like that chore that you don't want to do, or the treadmill that you can't really get off, what is our solution here? What needs to change? Well, I have a couple of action steps for you. First, get clear on your brand. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, or you need a resource for that, reference the video down below in the description. But before you create another piece of content, ask yourself, what is my brand actually built on? Your strengths, your vision, your values, and your messaging should be clear enough that marketing isn't an extension of it. Number two, choose the right vehicle. Ask yourself, is my marketing strategy actually getting my brand in front of the right people? Or am I just on a hamster wheel of pleasing a bunch of people that will never buy from me? We naturally go to different platforms looking for different things. So consider, what is the way you're trying to serve your people? What's the story you're telling, the content you're delivering, the message that you're sharing? And then consider, where are your people going to find what you're trying to share? Number three, make marketing a repeatable process. Stop reinventing the wheel. Find your core brand messages and repeat those. Say the same things over and over and over again, not in the same way so that they feel tired super quickly or redundant, but get creative by saying the same thing in different ways. I bet you there are way more ways to talk about your process, your product, one specific message or story in your brand that really resonates with your people. And the more that you repeat it, it's becoming familiar to your people. Because the stats are that a fraction of your audience is actually seeing the content that you put out there. So if you repeat yourself, likely you're just hitting a different part of your audience that hasn't heard the thing that you need to say yet. Marketing should feel like a rhythm, not a scramble. And if you feel like you're still scrambling to figure out what you should say, Storylines and Starters is probably the right tool for you. And again, you'll find that one down in the description. Marketing has the chance to feel like a rhythm. And if you feel like you're constantly scrambling under the weight of the thing that is marketing in your business, it's time to stop overcomplicating it, to anchor it back in your brand. And I promise, over time, it will get easier. And if this video hit home, be sure to like and subscribe so that way you can continue on this journey of us fostering brands that sell without saying a word.